All right, let's continue on with testing, and I'm also going to take this opportunity to talk about node modules, all right, because this is a good use case for them. I mean, they're extremely useful in general. I'm going to correct myself a little bit from something I said in the last video. We're not just exporting this function. So the idea, okay, so if we go back to a step, let's talk about like node, all right? So node is something we downloaded along like in the very beginning of this class, and I've had you guys basically use it without you knowing it, or explicitly. You've been basically running files with Node, like you've been doing the Node command and then the file.js, and that's how I've been running the file. Okay, Node is a framework. It's a platform. Some people call it an environment. Node is like like I like to explain it simply. It's like a zone that you can do a lot of different things using JavaScript. Like Node can run a web server, right? So that you can create a server with an API on it that will like serve data, right? And so that can be done in JavaScript. Like Node allows JavaScript to do a lot of different things, so that JavaScript can basically, I mean, that's what we're doing in this boot camp, is you are creating a full stack app. You'll be able to talk to databases using Node. You'll be able to serve a web page using Node. You'll be able to create an API using Node. So Node is an environment where all those magical things can happen. Now, one thing some people have seen so far is that when they do like Node with something that has, for example, document dot query selector, they've noticed that Node kind of doesn't like this. And the reason is that document doesn't exist in Node. All right, so we've been using a lot of the DOM manipulation functions previously, and those don't exist in Node because Node is its own environment. Before, we had the DOM, right? That existed in your browser. So JavaScript and your browser work together hand in hand to do your midterm project and for you to manipulate the DOM. But Node, there is no DOM necessarily, right? That doesn't exist. Okay, Node is its own little zone, all right, that is created so that you can do a bunch of things in JavaScript, but that also means that things like document are not going to exist there, right? So you're not gonna be able to do like document.query selector or anything like that. That's not a thing in Node. All right. What Node does, however, really well is, again, it lets JavaScript do a bunch of different things like make servers and serve pages and make APIs, and it's very, very useful. All right, so let's go back to our Jest testing. All right, I said we're going to make a calculator app. So we have multiple functions. We have function subtract, okay, A and B, and return A minus B. Function multiply, A and B, okay, return A times B. And we're going to do function division, A and B. Turn A divided by B. We'll get back to this in a second. But let me move this down so we can see. So I've made 4 functions, all right? So this allows me to do all the different things I need to do for my calculator app. So in line 17, we were able to take this sum function and make it available in another file. This index.test.js was able to use that file. And that's the thing that Node lets us do. So this is called a module. Okay, so modules are basically files that contain functionality that's related to one another. So for example, this could be like my calculator, right? My calculator has these 4 functions, and they're my basic functions for running the calculator. You may have a very big app with lots of different modules. They each have functions and all objects and classes and things in them, right, that are like sort of like a package combo, like they go together, right? That's why this is called node modules. These are modules, okay? Like Jest provides us modules, okay, that we get to use. Jest made of all, like, the people who made Jest, like, here's jest.js and like etc etc etc, here's index.js, and we get to use like all this stuff, all right, that they built in order to use Jest. So those are modules. All right, so modules provide functionality to other files. All right, cool. So the way in which we can basically tell the computer, hey, this is a module, is module.exports equals, and then the thing we would like to export. Now, this part gets interesting. So first off, originally we just had the sum function exported. Now, in order to make it so that another file can use that module, we decided to use the require, okay, function. This is also part of Node. Okay, require is really easy. Do not make this any harder than it needs to be. All require says is, I would like to use this module, please. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, all it means is go use this module, right? I'm telling require to go to index.js, which is this file here, and go grab the module and get whatever is exported so I can use it in this file. That's all it means. You're going to use require for like libraries or like which are modules, or your own modules which you will create, either which one. Now, the thing is though, I like to test all these functions, so I have to make it so that it will get multiple. So I'm going to change my syntax a little bit and do sum. So I'm going to make it an object. Okay, module exports will be an object, and it will have a sum, subtract, multiply, and division. I should call that divide, shouldn't I? I should call this divide because it's a verb. So I'll call this divide. All right, so this module, okay, will export an object that contains these 4 functions. Okay, is your brain melting yet? All right, so remember functions, okay, they're not like special, like they're values, so I can go ahead and put them inside of this object and then export the whole thing. So on this end, okay, we got to make a couple little small changes. So first off, this really shouldn't be called sum anymore because I am exporting 4 things. So I'm just going to call this index. Okay, so now you can think of this variable index. When we do require index, what the computer does is, okay, cool, I'm going to go to this module, I'm going to go to this file, and it should do module.exports, and whenever it exports, which is this, I will take it and save it in this variable. I'm going to repeat that. Require tells the computer, hey, go here. Computer's like, cool, I'm here. Go find the exports, module.exports. Computer's like, cool, I found it. And it will grab whatever is here. Okay, cool. It's an object that holds 4 functions. Awesome. All right, and then we'll save it in this index variable. All right, well, how do we use this? So index, therefore, has index.sum. Right, so index is this object right here, which has a sum. So we use a dot notation. Okay, we do index.sum. If I take 2 and 2, it makes 4. All right, let's do another test. Okay, subtracting 5 from 10 makes 5. Arrow function. Okay, I'm going to say let test subtract is equal to index.subtract. And then we're going to subtract 10 from 5 from 10 actually, and then expect. Okay, so this is the thing I'm testing, right? Index.subtract. I take 10 minus 5. That should be 5, right? So I'm going to do my function. I'm going to take the value I get back from the function. So if you're still like stuck on returns, you need to make certain that you understand what return keyword means in the function. You should know that this is returning, okay, the first number minus the second number. So this function gives you back something. Okay, if you're still stuck on that, you need to really practice it because return is going to come up a ton. All right, so it will return the difference between these two. So let test difference. I'm going to call it difference. All right, so I expect that test difference to be 5. All right, so that's what my test should be. So I'm going to save. I'm going to run my test. npm test. Okay, let it do its thing. Oh no! All right, so it yelled at me. Oh, my it added a bunch of this gobbledygook at the top. I don't need this. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. All right, so my test passed. When I subtract 5 from 10, it makes 5. All right, that's what this means. And so now, using Node, I'm able to basically create a module out of this file. Index.js is a module. It contains several functions. I'm able to export those functions. You can do one thing or you can do multiple things, all right? If you're doing one thing, like I just wanted to export just the sum function, it will look like this. All right, but then I would not be able to use subtract, multiply, and divide. I want to use all four functions, so I use this syntax. Okay, so I've exported all this functionality. I required it, which brings it in. Okay, so required means go to this file and grab the module from that file and bring it in here. Then, since index has multiple things, I can use dot notation to call the different functions. So index.sum, index.subtract. All right, so that with Node, I'm able to very cleanly do this and be able to like test my file in different files. So I can have one file that is for testing, and this file which will contain my functionality. And this will be the same thing. You'll have a file and then a test file, right? The file will be a module which you'll export. You'll bring it into your test and then do your testing with it. All right, this is the basic flow.